Nancy Pelosi is trending on TikTok, but probably not for what you might think. Young investors are looking to her and her venture capitalist husband to learn how to game the market. Their real secret, though, may be the information that Nancy gets on the job as one of the most powerful insiders in Washington. This got me wondering, how come our politicians are allowed to trade sometimes millions of dollars on individual stocks and sectors that they work directly to control and regulate? How is this not insider trading? And how has it gone relatively unchecked for so long? Let's take a deep dive into how our representatives in Congress are playing the stock market. Take a look at this website, capitaltrades.com. That's capital with a TOL at the end. It monitors the trading done by politicians in Congress on Capitol Hill. You can search a politician's name and see the trading that they've reported over the last few years. Take a look at House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's recent trading. You can see that on July 26th, her husband, the owner of a venture capital firm, sold 25,000 shares of NVIDIA? One of those two, the computer chip manufacturing company. A few days later, the House of Representatives voted on a bill concerning the domestic semiconductor chip manufacturing industry. Nancy Pelosi and her husband have recently garnered a lot of attention for their stock trading. They use a unique strategy of call options, and they've managed to consistently outperform the market. Numerous TikToks show investors taking cues from Pelosi's trading strategies and improving, or at least trying to improve, their odds in the stock market.
I've come to the conclusion that Nancy Pelosi is a sidekick and she can guess when a stock is going to pump. So I think I'll be picking up a couple shares on Monday.
Those that copy traded her copied her real-time moves and made some good money without even doing anything.
It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it.
Speaking of improving your financial odds, I want to thank my partner on today's video, Upside. Upside is an app that helps you earn cash back on your daily purchases from the gas pump to the grocery store. And with inflation hurting all of us peasants who don't have millions to play with in the stock market, a penny saved truly is a penny earned. You can earn cash back with every purchase thanks to Upside. Thankfully, gas prices have begun to fall, but when they were at their peak, and even now, Upside has been a lifesaver. It's super easy to use. You just open the app on your phone and it shows you nearby offers. You then click on the offer you want to claim and it will give you easy instructions to get your cash back, usually by checking in when you get there or uploading a copy of your receipt. You then earn your cash back and then can cash it out whenever you want via PayPal, e-gift card, or your own bank account. Compared to credit card rewards and loyalty programs, you can earn up to 3 times more cash back with Upside. To get started, just download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play. Use my promo code Leeja and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Thanks, Upside. So the information on the website Capital Trades and others like it is publicly available because members of Congress must report within 45 days any stock market trading that they do. But that requirement was only put in place about a decade ago. This information is important for public oversight into the finances and trading of politicians who have access to information, some of it public, but some of it not so public. Members of Congress, as part of their job, do things day to day that will have an impact on stock prices. For example, members of Congress are keenly aware of the daily voting on bills, even ones that do not garner much public attention, but may still have an effect on stocks for an individual company or an entire sector. They also conduct investigations either privately or publicly, and they likely have knowledge about upcoming votes and hearings ahead of other people. They're also involved in private hearings at the committee level, which can give them knowledge for what's to come for a specific company or sector before the rest of the public knows. This all means that congresspeople are given access to important information that they can then go and trade on. This, combined with the fact that members of Congress tend to be wealthier than the average American, means that they're able to take gambles and tolerate a higher level of risk in order to potentially win big by trading. For example, 25,000 shares of an individual stock, like Nvidia, something that the average American could never do. But Nancy Pelosi isn't the first politician to allegedly trade based on the knowledge gleaned from her position in Congress. 230 years ago, in the wake of the Revolutionary War, Alexander Hamilton proposed a system where the federal government would issue bonds and assume the Revolutionary War debts of the states. At that time, speculators bought up that Revolutionary War debt on the hopes that the federal government would later assume it, and a lot of the ownership over those bonds and debts found its way into the hands of congressmen who knew the government was planning on proposing a system to issue government bonds and take on Revolutionary War debts. I don't fully understand how all of this works, but suffice it to say that congresspeople have been using their job to further their private financial interests for as long as this country has been a country. Interestingly, under 18 U.S. Code Section 208, it is a crime for unelected executive branch officials to do anything in their job which could financially benefit them, including allowing them to profit from their activities that impact the value of entities in which they hold an economic interest, like stocks. This law, however, does not apply to elected officials like the president and the vice president and the congresspeople. Additionally, Senate Rule 37(7) bars committee staff from holding stocks that would be directly affected by the actions of that specific committee. But the senators in that committee, that rule doesn't apply to them. Under 28 U.S. Code Section 455, federal judges are required to recuse themselves from cases involving companies in which they own stock. It's almost as if the people writing the laws are explicitly exempting themselves from the laws. Interesting. And it wasn't until 2012 that Congress would pass an act creating any curbs whatsoever on their stock market activities. That act is called the Stock Act, of course. It's short for Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act. The act prohibits members of Congress and employees of congresspeople from using non-public information derived from their official positions for personal benefit. So that's if you're in a private hearing with a large company or discussing information that will significantly impact a specific sector of the market, and then using that private, non-public information to trade stocks. That is now, as of 2012, illegal for congresspeople to do. Before 2012, it wasn't clear. There was nothing explicitly barring them from trading stocks based on non-public information. The act also clarifies that members of Congress are not exempt from insider trading prohibitions. But that act fell short of prohibiting congresspeople from trading when the information they have is technically public, or where it can't really be proven that they have insider information. And based on a pretty bombshell report by Business Insider and other news organizations that dropped this past July, there are many congresspeople who apparently still don't think that the Stock Act applies to them. Specifically, the provision that requires Congress members to disclose any stock trade made by that congressperson, their spouse, or their dependent child. Of the congresspeople who it was found to have violated this law, includes, among many others, Democrat Dianne Feinstein, who waited months before disclosing her husband's 5-figure investment into a private polling company. Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville, who was late to disclose nearly 130 separate trades from January to May. Republican Senator Rand Paul, who was 16 months late in disclosing that his wife bought stock in a biopharmaceutical company manufacturing antiviral COVID treatments. Democratic Representative Tom Malinowski failed to disclose dozens of stock trades until Business Insider questioned him, and the Office of Congressional Ethics found substantial reason to believe that he violated federal rules or laws, prompting an investigation by the House Committee on Ethics. Republican Pat Fallon was months late disclosing stock trades worth as much as $17 million, and Republican Diana Harshbarger failed to disclose over 700 trades worth more than $10 million. In all, Insider found that 1 in 10 members of Congress has failed to report their stock trades in a timely way or faces late penalties. However, those penalties amount to around $200 per violation, further proving that fines and penalties like that are mainly made to punish poor people. Of course they're not gonna report on time. They only have to pay $200 for reporting late on $17 million in trades. Another reason the anger towards politicians on their insider stock trading has increased in recent years is due to politicians trading and getting rich on the heels of the COVID pandemic. For example, in February 2020, Republican Senator Richard Burr, after being briefed on the new virus sweeping the globe that was likely to have a devastating impact on the United States, sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock before the market crashed a month later. While he was doing this stock trading, he was also publicly downplaying the threat of the virus. This, along with similar actions by congresspeople like Kelly Loeffler, James Inhofe, and Dianne Feinstein, led to a Justice Department investigation for insider trading that ended up resulting in no charges. That doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't any insider trading happening, it's just notoriously hard to prove insider trading, especially because a lot of congresspeople, including Nancy Pelosi, don't actually trade in the stock market themselves. It's their spouses who do the trading, and spousal communications are conveniently privileged information in any subsequent court case. It's easy to then deny what information was passed in the privacy of your marriage. And if you're keeping track, this is an issue across the board no matter what region they live in or what party they're a part of. Congresspeople just love being greedy little bastards, failing to disclose thousands, sometimes millions of dollars worth of stock trading on time. Meanwhile, we're over here like, hi, can we please have a little debt forgiveness as a treat? Can you imagine just playing around in the stock market for fun and kicks? For shits and giggles, you just got a couple mil to throw out there? Nancy Pelosi was actually asked about this report that found numerous instances of violating the Stock Act. Take a look at her response.
Insider just completed a 5-month investigation finding that 49 members of Congress and 182 senior congressional staffers have violated the Stock Act, the insider trading law. I'm wondering if you have any reaction to that, and secondly, should members of Congress and their spouses be banned from trading individual stocks while serving in Congress?
No, I don't know to the second one. We have a responsibility to report in the stock, on the stock, but I'm not familiar with that 5-month review, but if people aren't reporting, they should be. Because this is a free market and people, we're a free market economy, they should be able to participate in that.
This is further evidence of how far to the right even the leftist party in the United States is. She did get quite a bit of blowback for this comment, as did the entirety of Congress after this insider report was released. And in April of this year, the Committee on House Administration, a United States House of Representatives committee, met to debate over the merits of banning federal lawmakers from trading individual stocks, which is the first hearing like this in the decade since the Stock Act was passed. And now, after months of these types of deliberations, last month, a couple of congressional sources confirmed that the House intends to move forward with introducing a bill that would ban congresspeople and their families from trading individual stocks. It would still allow Congress members and their families to trade in mutual funds, however, because those funds are made up of a large group of different companies from different sectors, making it pretty impossible to trade on insider knowledge with any one stock or sector within a mutual fund. Some reports said that the bill could be released in August for a vote in September, but I didn't see anything indicating that they were ready to move forward yet, and it's September now, so it's unclear whether they'll have time to address this bill before the end of the legislative session. A similar bill was introduced in the Senate last January, but has since been stalled in the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. It's unclear whether either bill will be addressed when Congress reconvenes on September 6th, but this has become a hot-button issue in this midterm election cycle because it does seem very clear there are so few arguments in favor of allowing congresspeople to do this type of trading, and voters just across the political spectrum are pretty pissed that this has been happening for so long and with so little oversight. It's like the one thing that we can all agree on. As for the TikTokers following Nancy Pelosi's Wall Street trading, is that a good strategy? It's reported that the Pelosis have made approximately $30 million trading stocks just in the big tech firms that Nancy Pelosi is responsible for regulating, including Nvidia, but also Apple and Alphabet, to name a few. Could you beat the stock market by just looking at what stocks she's buying and selling and copying her moves blindly? Reports say no, as she's using a more sophisticated system of call options than I'm certainly able to comprehend. And the Pelosi's have literal millions to play with and can handle far riskier investment moves than the average American. That being said, the founder of the Wall Street Bets Reddit board, the one that created that meme stock phenomenon that gained national attention when GameStop stock shot up in value early last year. Yeah, that guy, that Reddit guy. Last March, that Reddit guy, he pitched a product called the Insider Portfolio, a fund that mimics the stock trades of the Pelosi's. It was listed on stock exchange MERJ, which is kind of an obscure stock exchange, under the ticker INSDR. It started at $1 per share in March, and it's currently listed at $1.02 per share. Not bad, I guess, considering how poorly the stock market has been doing in the last 6 months, but I'm certainly no stock expert. For your average Joe Schmo, playing with stocks like this is generally not advisable, I hear, as your general tolerance for risk is going to be pretty low if you're making an average income and have bills to pay. Which is why reform of how the rich and powerful are able to toy with the market based on specialized knowledge that they receive from their job is of paramount importance, considering that they're supposed to serve us. And to the Congress people who call a curb on lawmakers' ability to trade stocks bullshit, I'm looking at you, Democratic Representative from Virginia, Elaine Luria. Might I remind you that taking a job as a public servant is a voluntary act, and if you're not interested in serving the public and instead using your job for your own personal gains, I suggest you sashay the fuck away. Thank you again to the sponsor of today's video, Upside. Reminder to download the free Upside app and use my code Leeja to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Thanks, Upside. If you enjoyed this and you want to support my work bringing you videos like this, please consider becoming a member of this channel or joining me over on Patreon, where we have a lively Discord chat, Leeja's book club, behind-the-scenes stuff, and so much more. Thank you especially to newest Patreon supporter Lisa, and as always, thank you to my royal patrons, Old Man Pence, Fork McSpoon, LNL, and Daniel Taylor, and a very special thank you to my multi-platinum patrons, Brett Piontek and Cyrus Solka. Your generosity is greatly appreciated, and it makes this channel what it is, so thank you so much. If you like this video, you probably will also like my last video where I reacted to alt-right TikToks. Thanks so much for watching, have a good day, bye-bye!